Welcome back. As the rabbit descends down the hole, we're going to be covering about Nimrod and the first empire in this episode. Every empire has a tyrant, and every tyrant was a child. And well, this child he had a wound in the shadow that he was trying to outrun. Nimrod's shadow, well, this was older than he was, older than his father, older than his grandfather. It began with a curse spoken over a man who wasn't Nimrod, but somehow followed him his entire life. The world remembered the curse that was on Canaan, but the world forgot about the boy who grew up believing that this curse was on him. When Nimrod was a boy, about 8 years old, it was the first time he heard the story. He wasn't supposed to hear it. Mm-mm. But children, well, they hear everything. They're sponges, as you know. He was crouched behind a tent. He was playing in the sand, and he heard the elders speaking. The voices were low, but they weren't low enough. Ham shamed his father and said, Noah cursed Canaan for it. Cursed the whole line, from what I understand. And this mark followed in his blood. Nimrod thought, blood? What blood? My blood? What is wrong with my blood? What does all this mean? Cush is a good man, but the curse lingers. You can see it in the boy. Oh, sticks and stones may break one's bones, but these stones hurt him. They cut him deep. What did I do? That's what he's wondering. What is it that I did? He didn't understand the story. He didn't understand the shame. He didn't understand why grown men spoke about him like this, as if they were fearing him for some reason. They were scared of this child. Well, some time passes, and when Nimrod was 10 years old, he killed his first lion. It was actually more like an accident when he did it. He wandered off, he was chasing a deer, and this lion jumped out of the brush. Scared, alone, he didn't know what to do, so he picked up a rock and he threw it at him. Then he picked up another rock and he bashed his head with it. It wasn't necessarily out of pride or strength or awe, you could say. It was out of fear. But when he came back, people, they just shook their head. They said, he's too strong, he's too young. They stood in awe of him. They fear me for surviving. This is what Nimrod was thinking. They're scared of me because I did it. I protected myself. But these seeds, they went deep inside of him. And he remembered. And as he grew, he became more motivated by this. And it moved him and it moved the world around him with a force that just could not be ignored. He hunted like no one else. He fought like no one else. And he built like no one else. He spoke with a conviction that made people move mountains for him. Excuse me. Or at least they felt safer. Well, time has passed, and something he began to notice and relish was that it gave him purpose. It gave him a sense of identity, and it gave him a story. And the story began to move. They moved mountains and they moved stones. And then what ends up happening? Well, he becomes a builder of cities. Babel, Barak, Akkad, Kalnai. They weren't cities just for shelters. No, they were systems. They had armies, hierarchy, propaganda, identity, even a form of taxation, if you will, you know. For the first time since the flood, humanity organized under this power. It wasn't just a family tribe anymore. It was a power structure. And Nimrod stood at the center of it all. It was quite an awe-inspiring moment if you think about it. But this power does not silence wounds, and this is what he had. It amplified it, made it stronger, made it bigger. And the night before the tower's foundation was laid, Nimrod confronted Peleg and Tirzah on the ridge. He came to assert his dominance. But something in the quiet of the night, and the way Peleg, he spoke to him, and he watched the stars, and he sat back and listened. Tirzah stood in his strong and quiet demeanor. Something in that moment loosened the truth for Nimrod. You think I build because I'm hungry for power. But what you don't know is that I build because I'm trying to eliminate the shadow of this curse that's on me. Oh, they listened. They embraced what he was saying. Nimrod told them more about the whispers and the fear, the lion story, which they hadn't heard. They heard rumors, but they weren't for certain about it. And the shame that he felt. I don't build because I'm a mighty man, per se. I build because I'm small. I refuse to be forgotten. I refuse to be cursed. Peleg looked at him and said, you're not cursed. You can reverse this. You can do something better. He refused to hold on to that. He looked at them, said, when the sun rises, the cornerstones will be laid. The world will change, and I will be the protector of all. Well, at dawn, the valley erupted with movement. Men were hauling stones, women were mixing clay, the children were carrying water, the soldiers were enforcing it all. The architects shouted out orders to the workers. The tower's foundation began to rise, and it rose, the monument of unity, of strength, of freedom, of ambition. Peleg, he watched from the ridge. This isn't about this. This is a cry for help. He's building something to overcome his shadow, but it's going to bury all of us. And Shem, watching from the distance off in the hill, saw it, recognized, and he realized, I've seen this before. I know how this is going to end. This is not good. Nimrod believed that he was building something mighty and that God himself would stand before him. He just didn't know that the earth will fracture because of him. I'll continue this in the next episode. I look forward to seeing you then.